In this video lecture, we will look at how we perceive health information and how we combine health information, moving us from health informatics to health communications. Perceiving health information is a complicated matter, and there are factors that can affect how we perceive public health information. Things like the dread effect, the unfamiliarity effect, and the uncontrollability effect have influence on how people interpret data and information that they're given. The dread effect is present with hazards that easily produce very visual and feared consequences. So if you think about shark attacks versus drowning in a swimming pool, people are often more fearful of the shark attacks than the drownings, and yet we know that there are far more deaths due to drownings than there are to shark attacks. However, swimming pool drownings don't always make the evening news, yet a white shark off of Huntington Beach definitely does. The dread effect may also be elicited by the potential for catastrophic events. So in California, it might be earthquakes, and think about the number of times on the news there's been a teaser about an upcoming earthquake and what we can do. Another influence is the unfamiliarity effect, and this has to do with how well we know and understand the potential harms and benefits. So for example, if you know somebody who's died of lung cancer, it's going to influence how you perceive information on the hazards of smoking, as opposed to someone who doesn't have the same experience. The example I give here is sun exposure versus food irradiation. Generally, people are more unfamiliar with food irradiation than sun exposure, and so if you give them information about food irradiation, it will be perceived differently. The third effect is the uncontrollability effect. And so I ask you, which is safer, car travel or travel by airplane? In truth, travel by airplane is the correct answer. There are far fewer deaths from airplane crashes based on the number of people transported than there are by auto collisions. So how do we combine information? Generally, we approach this by looking at decision analysis. And when we make decisions, there are several factors that influence our final decision. Things like how likely is a particular outcome to happen. In other words, what's the probability of the outcome? Another important component is the value of that outcome. How important is the outcome to me as a person? And then thirdly, how soon will the outcome happen? This is important when we're creating interventions for college students because they're generally young and full of health. And to tell them that they're going to die from cardiovascular disease and that they should eat and exercise may or may not influence their decision to do that because that is so far in the future. These data analysis factors allow us to combine information, leading us to making health decisions.